I never wanted to be a princess, but I always wanted to fall in love like one. Growing up, my imagination was fed by my love of animation, and while 90% of my heart belonged to cartoons from the land of the rising sun, the other 10% was enraptured by Disney films. However, the only prince that has ever appealed to me was the Prince of Science, so it wasn't the boys in tailored garments that got me, but the idea of loving that swept me up. Nowadays, when I look back at these old films, while I still find enjoyment out of them, the idea of falling so quickly makes the hair on my neck stand on end. She's unconscious. What exactly is charming about sexual harassment? So that's why, over 10 years later, Tada-kun Wakoi wa Shinai's tale of love is more appealing than any old fairy tale has ever been. And this show is a fairy tale, because it begins with a princess. And our princess is an unlikely one. Teresa Wagner comes from Luxembourg, one of the few countries in Europe that still attains a royal family. She is royalty, and travels to Japan with her confidant Alec to study abroad. While in Japan, she never mentions her ties back home, only that she is studying for a year and must return when the time is up. There she meets a boy called Tada, and our story starts under a cherry tree. For starters, Tada is not a prince, in any way, shape or form. He is just a normal high school boy, with ties to his own tragedies and roots in photography. His personality is a muted blend to Teresa's vibrant one. Her smile could light up a room, and his charm comes from his quiet self-assessment and awareness of the world around him. They bounce off each other beautifully, an unlikely yet perfect match, and the best part of this is, it's never overplayed. Too often in romance-centric shows or movies, the boy and the girl fall for each other very quickly, and even if they don't act upon their love, the entirety of their lives seem to be geared towards each other, making their characters feel one-dimensional and bland. In anime, a fair amount of unrealistic fan service has been thrown in, and while there is absolutely nothing wrong with any of this, it just doesn't ever feel like real love. Tada-kun Wakoi wa Shinai is a slow burner, and so that in itself makes it feel like a more realistic love story. We watch both Tada and Teresa grow as people, surrounded by friends who each show a different side to love. Whether it's the sting of the unrequited, the warmth in family, the fierceness in friendship, the blindness to see what's ahead, or the reality of age gaps. This anime shows us what love looks like in its many varied forms, in the most unassuming modern way.
男と女は8秒目が合えば恋に落ちると聞く。だが俺は落ちない。恋などしない。俺はジェリーちゃん。あ。
Because romance is but a backdrop to this rom-com, very much like our everyday. Each of us exists in our own world with our own group of friends, consumed with our own desires, interests and daily routines, and Tada-kun's world follows suit. Throughout the course of 13 episodes, we watch romance develop subtly and slowly between Tada and Teresa. There are no big declarations early on, no internal wishy-washy monologues, no perverted glances, and most importantly, no love triangles. Not even a hint of one. Well, there could be, after all, every good fairy tale needs a rival, and Charles is just that. But unlike the baddies that show up in Disney, Charles is charming and good, a gentleman, a nice guy, in love with someone who just doesn't love him back. And for anime, this is more than refreshing. In the end, what we have is a pure, realistic love story that happens naturally. Some would say too naturally, too slowly, too much of a slow burner. And while I fully understand that argument, there is something utterly beautiful and rewarding in the scenes where Tada and Teresa's feelings start to form in the show's later half. Doga Kobo bring us into these moments in stellar fashion, with the gorgeous musical underlays and rainy undertones that remind us that every tender moment between them starts with rainfall. We watch their feelings develop naturally over time, and we begin to piece together the moments when they started to fall in love. And while there are many points in this anime that made me a little frustrated, I felt they were all made up for in the subtle scenes of love. And the keyword here is subtle. From the episode in the palace gardens, to the lonely heartbreak in Tada's room, to the realisation by the lake. All of these moments carry a weighty impact. They made me take notice, they made me sit up, and they made me invested in this fairy tale.
って偉そうだけど。
But as a princess, heir to the throne, and one day queen, Teresa can't act on her feelings for Tada. And the instant that they both realise this is one of my favourite moments from the spring 2018 season. The way director Mitsu Yamazaki and scriptwriter Yoshiko Nakamura handle this episode is gold. Because it's not overplayed, it's not dramatic or intense, it's realistic in its fanciful setting, but most importantly, it feels honest. In all instances, in all moments, and in all ways, this feels like a modern fairy tale, a real-life love story. It captures the ideas of a realistic world free from tropes and harems, full of heartbreak and heartache. It's just refreshing to see this played out differently to what's come before it. A truly original by Doga Kobo. A reimagining of what it means to have a happily ever after, and to always remember to make your heart a rainbow. So I never wanted to be a princess, but if I'm lucky, maybe one day I'll fall in love, like Teresa Wagner.
「いつまでも続いてゆくと僕はずっと思ってたんだよ」「あの日君が綺麗すぎるわけを僕は何も知らなかった」